Alright, we're about to watch a video together, guys. The fair use statement. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news, reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is a use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing non-profit, educational, or personal use. Tips the balance in favor of fair use. So, this video falls within fair use. Enjoy. Let's watch this together.
E-cigarettes are either an answer for millions trying to stop smoking or the dawn of a new era of nicotine addiction. They're either a big threat to big tobacco or they may save it. As special correspondent John Larson reports, for good or ill, e-cigarettes remain completely unregulated by the federal government. That's about to change.
How long have you guys been vaping?
When Craig Majors was thinking about opening the Liquid Vapor Lounge a few years back, the e-cigarette industry had not yet caught fire.
You cashed out your 401k, took a loan out on your car, took all your savings.
Went all in.
All in, selling a selection of products for vaporizing liquid nicotine. There was only a handful of so-called vape shops in Oklahoma City at the time, but that changed almost overnight.
3 years ago, 10 shops. 2 years ago, 15. Now, 200.
In less than 5 years, vapor products and e-cigarettes have become the fastest growing sector of the $100 billion American tobacco industry, with Hollywood pitch women.
I'm Jenny McCarthy, and I finally found a smarter alternative to cigarettes.
Appearing in local Super Bowl ads.
Friends don't let friends smoke.
And even in HBO's Veep.
Catherine, you are smoking?
I'm vaping.
In fact, an estimated 20 million Americans have taken up e-cigarettes and vaporizers, many motivated by the same thing.
It helped me not want to go back to cigarettes.
It worked. 3 years, no cigarettes.
It looks like we may have a product that could deliver nicotine to the lungs without combustion. So for some currently addicted adult smokers, if they could completely switch to e-cigarettes.
He just said adult, but yet apparently we're marketing it to kids, right? So, yeah.
This could conceivably help.
And it's that message that the FDA and big tobacco agree on, that e-cigs may be a safer...
Oh, by the way, keep these e-cigs in mind and keep the nicotine strength 48 milligrams, which is what they were talking about on the reviewer's queue about a week or two ago, that these things have about 48 milligram nicotine, which is why they are very harsh. Keep that in mind for later on in the video.
Alternative for cigarette smokers.
We know what smokers want.
And why Robert Dunham of Reynolds American calls e-cigs the industry's holy grail.
If you can deliver satisfaction to adult tobacco consumers in a way that poses far less risk, let's go. I mean, this has got to be the billion-dollar idea, right?
But despite the industry's runaway success, there has been little research and no federal regulation. 2 years ago, researchers at the University of...
Keep in mind, no research and no federal investigation. Okay. Meanwhile, tobacco is legal, alcohol is legal, and all these other things are legal. Pharmaceuticals are legal. And they're all regulated, yet they cause more deaths than marijuana or e-cigs or whatever. I mean, haven't heard anyone die from e-cigs yet, but of course it's new. But FDA regulations does not justify whether a product is good or not. When there's already a lot of products out there that does cause harm, and that does cause you to basically lose your life. So let's continue.
California Riverside discovered some vaporizing systems exposed users to heavy metals. Another study revealed vaporizing liquids at high temperatures, while uncommon, could expose users to high levels of formaldehyde, a known carcinogen.
That formaldehyde study was done with CE4s, tanks, top-fed coil systems, which then were fired for 100 seconds at 5 volts. Anyone who knows anything knows that everyone and their dog is probably vaping less than 5 volts. And for like 5-second draws at max. Usually, maybe someone will do 10 at a cloud comp, but no one's doing 100 seconds.
If you think that you're picking these up because they're glamorous and that you're not going to have any downstream or long-term effects as a result of this, I think you're kidding yourself.
Dr. Thomas Sussin at Johns Hopkins University found in a recent study of mice that while healthy lung tissue looked like this, the lungs of mice exposed to e-cig vapors looked like this, showing evidence they were less capable of...
Okay, so you're going to notice here in a second, I'm not going to do any cuts or anything, but you're going to notice here in a second they don't show it in comparison to regular cigarettes. They go from natural to, vaping lungs, so to speak. I guarantee you if they were exposed to cigarette smoke, their lungs would be 100 or 1,000 times worse than that. So again, they're trying to bias it.
Fighting infection. He also discovered free radicals, the same dangerous chemicals found in tobacco smoke.
It was not to the level that what we see in conventional cigarettes, but the number of free radicals that we detected was 7 times 10 to the 11th, which is a huge number. So it's very likely that those free radicals are going to inflict some level of damage in the lungs.
The FDA has failed to recognize the impact of the advertising of this product towards young people.
Matt Myers of the Campaign for Tobacco...
Towards young people, you say? I don't see any advertisement towards young kids. No advertisement whatsoever is being done to young kids. It's advertised to help you get off of cigarettes. And cigarettes are being for use of sale for anyone who is above the legal age to purchase those in their region. So that is who it is marketed to, not kids. Thank you.
Free Kids says according to the Centers for Disease Control, e-cigarette use has tripled in middle and high school students in just 1 year.
Well, the same can be said for weed. The same can be said for alcohol, cigarettes. Other, things that they say are not marketed towards kids, like alcohol and cigarettes. Kids gain access to it all the time. I mean, who's not to say they're not going to gain access to anything that's even illegal? That's completely just ridiculous. Kids are always going to get into mischief. We know this.
An estimated 2 million kids exposed to nicotine.
It's the way to be cool, it's the way to be sexy, it's the way to be independent, it's the way to be rebellious, and it's the way to be just like everybody else. And it's no surprise. It is appealing to millions of kids.
Nicotine has been proven addictive and harmful to teenagers, threatening normal brain development.
Oh, you want to talk about biological development, huh? Let's talk about McDonald's being marketed towards kids, and then they grow up, they become obese, they get diabetes, and they get heart attacks and coronaries and stuff like that. And then they experience heart attacks and overweight problems, and yeah. So I'm much rather have people vaping than be exposed. I don't know. It's just really stupid. Really stupid.
I imagine a parent of a teenager saying, what's it going to take to shut down this marketing?
Well, we share the concern. E-cigarettes should not be used by kids. And we were on the record last year saying to get the proposed rule out took us longer than it should have.
Longer because the courts overruled the FDA's first effort. The FDA is now trying again, proposing new regulations, which surprisingly do not address targeting teenagers with sweet flavors or advertising.
I understand the frustration.
Oh, really? Let's step back a second here. Let me see. Where was that?
Teenagers with sweet flavors or advertising.
So they got a bunch of chicks on here, and they basically have it marketed like that. But if you notice, all of them people on there are above the age of 18, or else they would get into a lawsuit for having child pornography on their magazine, right? You could see they got no bras on, so they would be arrested for child pornography if they put this up. So these products are not marketed towards teens. They are marketed towards adults. This magazine is made for adults. So anyone who's to sit there and say that this is marketed towards kids is completely ridiculous. Let's continue.
I understand the frustration that it's taking FDA so long. There needs to be a little patience. We need answers to the questions that have been fielded in the many studies that we have put out there to have the full regulatory framework in place for e-cigarettes.
Have you ever had Suicide Bunny's mother's milk?
Visit any vape shop and you'll find hundreds of flavors called e-liquids or e-juice. Some do appear to target the young, with sweet flavors like strawberry shortcake or Captain Crunch or gummy bears.
The industry is...
Okay, so just because it has sweet flavors does not mean that it is for kids. You look at alcohol brands, and there's a lot of sweet flavored alcohol out there. A lot of alcohol out there with bright coloring and the labeling and stuff like that. Not to mention cigarettes and cigars with flavors like mint chocolate and, grape and stuff like that. So you can't use that if the cigarette industry is already doing that.
Not targeting children. Just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you don't like...
Don't mind my stuffy nose, by the way, I'm sorry.
Gummy bears.
A former rodeo rider and recovering addict, Sean Gore is an advocate for Oklahoma's vaping industry.
I see adults buying, packs of gummy bears all the time. I mean, just because you're an adult doesn't mean that you don't like good flavors.
Exactly.
And it's the growing abundance of flavors, variable nicotine strengths, and customizable equipment that Gore says is so popular. Vape shops offer what's called open systems, so customers can pour e-liquids into open vaporizers. Big Tobacco, on the other hand, offers what's called closed systems. The nicotine liquid is already enclosed within the e-cig, which turns out to be a huge point. Because even as the FDA is writing its proposed regulations, Big Tobacco is lobbying to outlaw the increasingly successful open systems offered by its competitors.
We do have, and we've heard legitimate concerns from others about the dangers of exposed nicotine. And that's one that we believe ought to be addressed.
Liquid nicotine is highly toxic. Too much can be lethal.
Okay, so remember earlier when I said that the e-cigs that they do, like the Cigalikes, like the Views and the Mark 10 and the Blues and such, they all have a 48 milligram nicotine strength from what Ruby Roo and Matt with Suck My Mod was talking about, and they were doing some research and among a few others, right? So if you got 48 milligram nicotine that you're putting in, yeah, obviously you're going to need to wear gloves. But a lot of us are using like 3 milligram, 1.5 milligram, 6 milligram, 8 milligram, up to 24 milligram is usually the highest that a regular consumer will go. The highest I've ever really seen someone go is 36, but those are only rare occasions. A lot of people are handling liquid daily, and no one is being overexposed to it because we're careful, and we're on lower nicotine strengths than what is in those those Cigalikes. So again, sorry for my stuffy nose. It's kind of the summertime, the spring. My nose acts up and whatnot. So
many of the new vapor entrepreneurs are small business. The owners of the Vapor Hut in Oklahoma City, for example, used to sell snow cones out of this truck. They now have 6 vape shops and a multi-million-dollar online business selling 140 flavors, which, even in the absence of regulation, they are mixing in what they describe as clean rooms. And they are just one of thousands of new small businesses now competing with Big Tobacco.
It feels like 1 million small businesses are crawling in over the walls into a business that you guys traditionally have relatively owned. I mean, are they a threat, or should I say, how much of a threat are they to you?
If we get our act together, these guys are going to be our future customers. There's no reason that those things don't want to.
Boo! Boo! This guy's a tobacco guy. Boo! I'm not going to serve him. I'm not going to ever give him money. Never will I give this guy money. Ever. He wants to sell tobacco? Nope. 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 No, I'm not lining your pockets anymore, buddy. Here, let me just pick your nose with my mouse. Here you go. And there you go. Let me play this again.
To come together.
And we're just going to hand the industry straight back to them while driving small business owners out. It makes no sense.
Exactly.
Gore fears the pending federal regulations may force every small flavor manufacturer to spend tens of thousands of dollars proving the safety of every flavor at every strength.
If that happens, you'll end up seeing probably 5 flavors, and really the only individuals that will be able to afford the testing and getting
putting this up so then it's copyright reasons.
Getting the approval for those flavors would be Big Tobacco.
The notion that people who have no chemical training, no safety training, are mixing concoctions in the back room or their bathtub.
Are you kidding me? No one's mixing in a bathtub. Are you, like, these guys are so idiotic. They're basing it on, like, their narrative is so twisted. All they want is your money. That's all they want is money. And the fact that all these people are getting off their little, he's gonna lose out on his, like, big bonus at the end of the year. Oh, poor him, you can't buy an additional Lamborghini this year. Oh, poor him. That's why he's demonizing everyone. Everyone's just in it for the health and the betterment of other people to get off of the cigarettes that have 5,000 chemicals in it. And then some when you're lighting them on fire. Like, anyone who buys into all this propaganda is you're an idiot. You're not doing your own research. There's 4 chemicals that go into e-cigs. PG, propylene glycol, that's what it is. That's what PG is. Vegetable glycerin. What else? Nicotine. And sometimes you don't even need flavoring, but you can get flavoring. Now, all those ingredients individually are FDA approved. Now, does that tell you something? They just don't want you to vape, that's it.
And giving it to consumer means we're doing a human guinea pig experiment on literally millions of Americans without any knowledge of what the consequences are. If you're too small a manufacturer in order to be able to assure the public about what's in your product, then you shouldn't be selling it to the public.
Okay, well then let's test, then that tobacco guy, not this person, but the other tobacco guy that we just seen, how about we just test how cigarettes are on him? How about we make him smoke like a carton of cigarettes a day, and then see how he turns out after about 5-10 years? I mean, he needs to test his own products out, right? Right? I mean, you know, come on.
Public.
Which brings us back to the public, and these folks back in Oklahoma, who volunteered for some closing portraits, all told us vaping saved them from cigarettes. The government promises it will try to balance this with the still unknown risks of e-cigs. Big Tobacco hopes regulators will keep the health benefits in mind. Small business fears that Big Tobacco may be trying to put them out of business.
Yep.
And as for the vapors themselves, they do love the abundance of flavors, but want to know, what's really in this stuff? And how safe is it?
If you guys want, I'm putting this on YouTube. And you guys can check out pages on Facebook, such as For Vape's Sake. You may also check out Vape to Live, Vape to Love, or something like that. I'll throw a few links to groups in the description. As well as I'm going to post this video directly on the group itself. And you guys can definitely go and check it out. And, yeah. This is a lot of BS that they're trying to propagate. I mean, you know.
For the PBS NewsHour, I'm John Larson in Oklahoma City.
So don't believe all this. The ingredients are just 4 ingredients: PG, VG, nicotine, and flavoring. Don't believe it. And don't fall into their little trap of trying to keep you on cigarettes because of tobacco tax and Big Pharma. They want to keep you sick so that you can provide their pockets and then go to Big Pharma and buy their healing method, so to speak, which is basically just a cycle of money and then die off at an early age. So then you won't eat off the system. Anyways, love all you guys. Just thought I'd rebuke or, do a rebuttal to this video. And once again, this all applies. This applies. And have a good day. Bye-bye.